Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You feel it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I work the higher power.
Really? I didn't know that. Did you just see that?
Welcome to our new step.
Oh, yeah. They still.
I couldn't keep score, but I did notice they had a new art teacher who was. Yeah, I was glad.
Those of you that are in the audience this evening, we have a board member that is out of town and they'll be joining us electronically. So my phone will ring here in just a little bit and they will be on speakerphone. That will be Mrs. Brown if she calls in by that time. So just to let you know. Hello, Mrs. Brown. Okay, we're going to start here in just a little bit, and I'm going to put you on speakerphone, okay? So you're going to have to watch your language, okay? Thank you.
This time, I'd like to call the AlWood Community Unit District 225, July 25th, 2022, for the education meeting order at 6 p.m.
Poppy? Here. Barton?
Here.
Work? Here. Altoss?
Yes.
Link, yes. Brown?
Yes.
And
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God,
Lord God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone have an opportunity to review the consent agenda. So I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. Work? Work? Yes. Altoss?
Yes.
Link, yes. Brown?
Yes.
Poppy? Yes. Barton?
Yes. Again, welcome. At this time, we have the opportunity for comment. I ask that you refrain or you keep your remarks to 3 minutes, cordial and professional.
Mr. Larson, if you could run the 3-minute timer, please.
Please.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. Number one, does AlWood intend to, do they teach comprehensive health education?
Can we, just one moment, sorry, can you tell me your name so I can
Marcia Doyle?
record it correctly? Thank you.
Yes, no?
And the question,
Do you teach comprehensive health education in this district?
We teach a unit of health education, not a comprehensive program,
Okay, do you teach comprehensive sex education in this district?
not that I'm aware
Great, I'm really glad to hear that. Are there any furries attending the AlWood School District?
of. Any what?
Furries? You can laugh, but they are in other school districts. I just
No.
want to know if they're here in AlWood.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And do you have any plan to integrate homeschoolers into the extracurricular activities at AlWood, such as band, sports, et cetera?
Had nobody asked. I know a neighboring district recently went through some of that, but we haven't had anybody ask us that for a number of years, so.
I know Geneseo does, but I didn't know if AlWood allowed that or not.
We haven't had-
Cambridge does not. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I bet it was 20 years ago, we had somebody that had asked them that. We haven't had anybody for a number of years ask about extracurricular. A lot of times it comes up with driver's ed or something like that, and we've
But not
we've done that.
Okay. But the comprehensive sex education is not being taught in AlWood?
If you're referring to legislation that's going to require us to teach some of the stuff from the Illinois State Board of Education, I believe we're exempt from going,
That
Doing
SB 818,
yes.
they're exempt. Glad to hear that, because I love this school district, didn't want to get going down that road. Thank you.
and to answer your question about the homeschool students, I've done some preliminary investigation and trying to talk to Ben. He said there's a form you can fill out and submit it to the IHSA. He didn't know how to improve the classes that you take. We're looking into that.
That goes through the regional office of education, and you have to prove the curriculum that you have, and then you have to believe that that's actually being delivered, and as robust as ours or comparable, and that's sometimes where there's a little bit of lines in the gray, so.
I know Geneseo does, you just have to pay the regular registration fee, and then your child is allowed to be in sports, choir, band, any of those activities. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Can I have say a comment and not a question?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm here to talk about the situation with Brian. And I'm also gonna walk out here for one of the enemies, because I'm speaking on it. But I don't know
If I could interrupt for just 1 second, and you can go on with your comments. but there will be a time that there's a closed session, if you feel more comfortable doing that with just the board, at a later time. You can certainly do what you're doing now, but there's also a time if you would like to go, and you can do both. If you have some public comment now, you can do that. If you want to keep it more private, and just talk to the board members and administrators, you can also do that.
Yeah, can I do that?
Sure, you sure can.
So is this the time where we speak on Brian's behalf?
This is the time if you have concerns about something for public comment, this would be your time. And you have 3 minutes.
30 seconds.
I was gonna say for you, yeah.
Okay. I just have a couple letters that I'm gonna read, in defense of, the actions that have taken place in the last couple months and, in reference to that. First letter I'm gonna read is from Alison, which was our foreign exchange student. He emailed some words in reference to this for Brian. It says, throughout my entire year in the United States of Illinois, I learned to know, readers, hang on. I learned to know many people and also met many people, but there are certain people I would never forget, like my basketball coach, Brian Brooks. Even though I was a newbie into basketball, I had no experience about it, but this one man took me under his wings and under his shoulder to teach and train me as hard as he could. Thanks to him, I can now play basketball in my own home country and also teach new people. Personally speaking, and in my own opinion, I will say without a doubt that he's a great coach and a really fantastic person. Thank you, Coach Brooks. I also have one from Gannon. To whom it may concern, with everything that's going down with Brian Brooks, the Ridgewood Boys High School basketball coach, I would like to say how much of an impact he has had on me and other players' lives. Coach Brooks has taught us the importance of life and how to live it. Not only was he someone that I looked up to and continue to look up to, but I knew he would do anything and everything for any of his players. On the court now, off the court. He is like a father to everyone. As a coach, he has brought back the Ridgewood basketball program. In the 4 years he has coached, he has had 20 or more plus wins each season. Something that has always made Coach Brooks awesome. Also is that he always puts his players' time over his own and his family's. He would do anything to make sure his players got what they wanted and what they needed. Thank you for taking the time out of your day and agreement. Is it like all 3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes?
Just less.
One more. No, I got like 5. Okay. Okay. Dear AlWood board members, this one is from my son Mitchell. Never in a million years did I see myself sitting down at a desk writing a letter to all of you defending my father in order for him to stay on as the varsity boys head coach. But here we are. The emotions I am currently feeling are ones that I cannot describe. Part of this is because I can't be there in person tonight supporting my dad and the rest of my family. I am thankful that my mother is reading this letter. I hadn't read it. To all of you on my behalf, as she has supported my dad throughout the entire process. The other part of my emotions is coming from the uneasiness of the entire situation, from the rumors that started back in June about the coaching situation. Nevertheless, I will do my best keeping those emotions in check as I am writing this letter to all of you. It was the end of my freshman year of high school. We came off a very successful season, fresh off the level under Coach Benson. However, there were a lot of uncertainty for the varsity level because of head coaching position becoming available. After the interviewing process, it was my dad, Brian Brooks, whom the exact board hired. Oh, is that my time?
Yes.
Okay.
You can finish.
Thank you. And after that night, the next several years took off. I could sit up here and tell you all the success my dad has had being the varsity coach for both boys and girls, but you are all aware of that. As a coach, otherwise you wouldn't have hired him all those years ago. It would be a waste of time to mention his famous state title run as the varsity coach during our first year at Ridgewood, or consecutive 20-plus wins this season. You are all aware of the accolades my dad has brought to the program. I am here to tell you the impact Coach Brooks has on all of us on the court, because at the end of the day, that's what matters most. There's not one person that puts any more blood, sweat, and tears into the program than Coach Brooks has done over the years. He's taken all of us, and I mean all of us, under his wing and treated each individual as his own family. That is his motto and always will be. Are there times where he loses his cool and gets fired up? Yes, of course, he does. But to be fair, we all do that when it comes to our family. It is second nature to protect them. Have mistakes been made? Absolutely. But is anybody perfect? No. We all have different ways of going through things. and about things. At the end of the day, it's all because of love. If you want to continue to have a successful varsity basketball program, Brian Brooks is your guy and always will be. If you want to continue to have 15-year-old boys shape up into men and by the time they are seniors, Brian Brooks is your guy. These are not biased statements because I am his son. These are all facts. Ask anyone that has ever been coached by my dad or simply been in his presence, this proves true. With all the support we have gained throughout the entire situation, I hope each and every board member has been checking their emails, listening to people in the public and in the community constantly because there have been numerous letters from various past and present players. Not only have there been letters, but there are petitions too, over hundreds of signatures in just 3 days, for people supporting him to stay on as the head varsity basketball coach. I hope all of this is considered when making the decision. Thank you for your time, as always. God bless Central Brooks.
Anyone else? Hi.
Hi, my name is Stormy. Sorry, I get so nervous talking in front of people. I'm horrible at it. I have I don't know if I can read it. Will you read it? It's from my husband. I think the coach is with Brian and
Your God.
I'm like that.
From Tom.
Okay. Thank you for these requests.
Tom Moriarty.
Yes.
Okay, yes, Tom Murray. Board of Directors, I am writing you this letter not to pick sides or create any controversy, but to give you a true insight on the basketball program. I am the new guy and was hired last year to be on Coach Brooks' staff. I knew of Coach Brooks because my son was on the basketball team. Other than that, I honestly did not know him personally. Once we started the season, I got to see how the structured practices work, what he expected from his coaching staff, which players needed to develop, and what we needed to do in order to develop them. This is pretty normal for any head coach to do at this level. However, once the game started, most of the development stuff seems to go away and everything comes down to wins and losses. With Coach Brooks, it did not. He still emphasized player development. I remember him taking 30 minutes for a week of practices to work varsity's left hand at mid-season, right? I mean, this was a 20.1 team. I saw him take a foreign exchange student who has never played basketball or knew any of the rules and take him to work with him and teach him the game. At the end of the year, he could dribble full court with both hands, make a layup on a consistent basis. If you would have seen him try to do that from the beginning, you would have understand why I'm even using this as an example. Coach would do that for all levels. If anyone wanted to stay late, go in early, or just sit and talk about life, he would be there for them. The efforts I saw him put in to get a kid to go out for basketball, or the efforts to get kids' grades from F's to D's to B's to an A was so impressive. We would receive nightly phone calls on how to get certain kids more involved, or why was that kid in a bad mood, or what bad mood that day, or what freshman had a good practice, etc. Every coach loves to win, but his love for kids winning is at life. He loves to brag about his former players, girls, boys, to everyone's annoyance. The reason I am writing this letter is because good coaches are hard to come by, and you have a good one. He has created a family-first program. All families have their ups and downs, but they always fight for each other. These kids truly love him as their coach. The reason he has had such success is because he does all the things I've mentioned above. I have seen other coaches do a lot less with a lot more talent. Winning is created by creating a good program, and he has done that. The numbers speak for themselves. I do not agree with what he did on social media, but I do believe in forgiveness. Sincerely, Tom Moriarty. You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, thank you for your time tonight. Brian and I have been together for 13 years. Trust me when I say he can do and say some bonehead things. Well, with that said, I know we all have probably done something similar. It's easy to jump on social media platforms, make comments, add emojis, or long-winded posts. Unfortunately, these things tend to do more harm than good, excuse me. I know Brian regrets reacting to this post, but I also understand his heart and intentions behind it. Brian is incredibly soft-hearted and passionate about his family and those close to him. I had to watch him sit back with his hands tied while he saw his nephew struggle through a horrendous situation. He wanted to fight tooth and nail for him, but he couldn't do a thing. He reacted to this post thinking he had a chance to put the truth out there instead of everyone only hearing one side. In our world today, it seems like all the negative things are shouted from the mountaintops, while the positives are quietly kept to ourselves. I'm guessing, as board members, people reach out to you with all the negatives and very few positives. I'm sure some of you were contacted concerning this matter, and that's why we're here. But I ask that you look at the bigger picture and listen to other community members as well. Don't just consider only the people that are vocal about the negatives. According to the Illinois Association of School Boards website, the code of conduct for members of school boards states, "I will respectfully listen to those who communicate with the board, seeking to understand their views, while recognizing my responsibility to represent interests of the entire community." As with this case and all other situations brought to the board, it is your obligation to listen to all community members and not just the few that voice their opinions more loudly. Brian has the support of his family, his current boys team, their parents, his fellow coaches, and even previous past teams and families. They have all been willing to hear out the situation, understand his heart, and still stand behind him. No one is dismissing the fact that some of the comments should not have been made, but there is acceptance and forgiveness because we've all been there at one time or another. I'm not here to tell you how to do your jobs. I know being a school board member can be a very difficult task, but please hear out our community members and all the people that support him. He has continually delivered successful programs and pours his heart and soul into all he does for these kids. They truly become a part of our family, and he will go to battle for each and every one of them. We have opened our home and our lives up to these kids for many years. Coaching is not just a job for Brian. It is a deep passion of his, and honestly, it means the world to me too. Please give Brian the opportunity to keep his coaching position. My fear is that letting him go will do far more harm than good for both AlWood and Cambridge communities. Show this community how we can extend grace and forgiveness, and not just write people off after making a mistake.
Hi, Scott Francis. I'm here in support of Brian. I think I've sat in your seats before, and first, people can make mistakes. As far as I know, this might have been his only mistake. If other things have been brought up, they weren't brought to his attention as a strike. I'm a person that believes in 3 strikes. Everybody makes a mistake, learn from that mistake, move forward. I'm not that privy of the entire situation. The situation is between 2 other people. He did make a comment by an emoji, and it went public from there. That was their decision. I just think he needs another chance. I think a single mistake shouldn't end a career, and our kids support him. They've learned a lot from him, and I think he's got a lot more to do. Appreciate your time.
Christy Verhecke, I'm in support of Brian. Unfortunately, the situation is between 2 families. I'm not part of that family. I don't feel the school board's part of that family. It is a non-school board issue. It should not be a school board issue at all. It's between their 2 families. I don't think it should even be brought up tonight or in discussion in regards to letting a coach go for this situation. This is something that should be dealt with outside, not school. He is an excellent coach, and I don't find any reason to let him go in regards to the situation between those 2 families. It's not affecting my child. I think he's a great coach. I'd like to see him stay. Thank you.
Anyone?
Derek Verhagen, I want to know what rules and regulations you guys have in place for social media for the staff. What's in the guidebook? I mean, there's a lot of other social media items going on right now that I'm sure teachers and staff have made comments about, and ain't been brought up. I mean, what are you guys putting in place from these situations? As a board? What are you allowing, what are you not allowing? Is it one picking one off on one thing and not on another subject? Again, I don't have anything to do with this situation here, but, it was a social media that was not part of the school situation. I don't understand where the school board even has to get involved. Thank you.
Can I read mine? Can I read mine?
You certainly may.
So where I left off is saying that I am going to make a lot of enemies for talking on this, but I'm not here to make friends with all basketball boys. I'm here for victims in our community. I wanted to start by saying that Ryan's coaching skills aren't what's being questioned, it's his character. He might be a good coach. I personally have never had him as a coach, and I can't speak on that. What I can speak on is my experience with him and how he treats victims of sexual assault and grown teenagers. Ryan took time on a Saturday night to scroll through months of Facebook posts to laugh at my statement about being sexually assaulted. He also laughed at a picture of just me that Kelly Hand took at senior walkout. Keep in mind, this was 2 months after court was finished, so he had no reason to act out like this on this day. It is obvious he and his family don't believe what happened, even though there's proof and in court got figured out. The fact that a 48-year-old man would take time to harass an 18-year-old on such a serious topic is beyond me. After I saw what he did, I messaged him and asked him to leave me alone because this is not the first time his family has harassed me. He responded with a laughing emoji and claimed that there were no charges pressed and that I would have lost even though I won 2 months earlier. So obviously the truth got lost somewhere, considering the person he is defending was charged with assault, along with having to complete courses that were agreed upon in court. Letting someone who harasses victims keep a job in the school says many things. It's telling boys that it's okay to look up to someone who harasses victims or women other view teenage girls. Most teenagers strive to be like their role models, and as has been proven, coaches are role models. You are also showing the dozens of other victims in our community that they don't matter, their voices don't matter, their experiences don't matter, and that them being harassed doesn't matter either. I know there are plenty of good coaches in this area that don't do these things and would never even think about doing these things. I've had good coaches here who would never do these things. Brian is setting a poor example for teenage boys by harassing someone so much younger than him about something as serious as rape. Someone who cannot control their emotions or act like an adult should not be a role model for teenage boys. What happened to me is very serious and is not something to be laughed at. A grown man should understand that and should know how to respect people. He lacks maturity and control, and someone like that shouldn't work in high school. This may not directly affect me anymore as I'm not a student, but it will affect the current victims and sadly the future victims in our community. And as has been said, he treats these kids as his family, which is why he said to me what he said. So that just goes on to prove that if something like this were to happen again, he wouldn't hesitate to do what he did to me.
Anyone else can speak? If not, Archie? Elementary board report.
At elementary school, I start off with a building update from the summer work going on. Julie, Brent, and Wayne's been helping out a lot too. Been working hard, getting the school ready to go. 41 building rooms are all clean. The tile floors have been cleaned and waxed, so that side of the school's good to go. The lab is the last room that needs to be cleaned in the 72 building. The entryway is going to be cleaned and waxed this Thursday, Friday, and then the gym and cafeteria floors will be going through that as well real soon. Dawn Kessinger, she's been working real hard in the kitchen storage room. She removed all the items off the storage shelves in there, cleaned and painted all the storage shelves, and then has everything back in reorganized, and she started painting the floor on there as well, so it looks a lot better there. And then there's already been a lot of teachers in working in the rooms and preparing for the school year, so it's kind of walking through rooms today, and a lot of them are pretty kind of close to records. Summer tutoring Candy Shapley, she's running a summer tutoring program at the elementary school throughout the entire summer. It's going up even the first 2 weeks in August. And she's just done an amazing job of organizing the details and then scheduling the students. This program is paid through dedicated COVID funds for reducing some of the learning loss that occurred during COVID. And tutoring services provided by several of the elementary teachers and staff throughout the summer. Some upcoming dates, this coming up Thursday, school registration day here at the high school from 3 to 7. New staff orientation, which we've got quite a few. We're gonna have that August 4th in the library at 9:00 a.m. Elementary backpack night is August 12th from 4:30 to 6. And 15th of August, teacher in service, and the 16th is the first day of school.
For the audience that doesn't know, Dawn Lewis, this is her first meeting as our middle high school principal. Welcome her, and she's off to a flying start. That's an interaction with her. She's been busy while it's supposed to be her vacation. If you would.
We've had the 21st Century Grant Program, the AlWood Ambitions going on through the month of June and into July. There were 11 kids in the summer enrichment where they, played games, they made healthy snacks, did lots of fun things. The Facebook page shared some of those activities. We had 7 students in credit recovery. 5 of them completed at least 1 semester, and I think we had 1 student complete 3 semesters. We also had 10 to 15 students doing weightlifting and strength training in the building. I've been busy trying to hire and fill teaching positions as well as secretary and aide positions. I've attended a Clear and Present Danger webinar with the Illinois State Police on helping to keep our schools safe. Reggie and I have worked on our proposal for what our steps are in case of an emergency. AlWood is part of a community partnership grant with the ROE and the Henry County Health Department, and we will be bringing a clinical psychologist into both buildings as needed. And this is a brand new program that Dwayne Stevens and Angie Zardell are creating. So, we are going to be able to help with mental health of our students a little more accessible.
I have a question, just real quick, in reference to the webinar on the safety. Do all of our doors in both buildings lock from the inside?
Ours has the push button here at the high school.
From the inside?
Yes.
Okay.
That was one of the grants that Dan Swanson helped us out with. I think he gave us $64,000 for all the state-of-the-art lockdowns on every classroom that has kids in it, plus the offices.
Okay, thank you. I had a parent ask me about that over this weekend, so I'm glad that came up.
Last month, we were to approve the handbook changes. We postponed it, to give the new principal a chance to review.
Yes, so I clarified with the ROE, the only thing in the handbook that we edited just a little bit further was adding the mental health days in with the absences. And it was brought to my attention, what about the COVID absences? But those would be excused because you would have to have a doctor's note to come back after your, time is up. So the only change is the 10 cumulative days of unexcused. And the 5 mental health rolls into that.
Definitely have a motion to approve the changes.
Yeah, so moved.
Second, goes me. Hoppy?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Work? Yes. Alhoff?
Yes.
Link, yes. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Bierman.
Thank you. I would like to thank, first of all, welcome Dawn, and thank both of you for your hard work. The mental health issue is a big topic nowadays, and to have a small school district like this, clinical psychologists where they can actually offer treatment is just unheard of. So thank you for setting that up, following through with the grant to the ROE, and I think it's a nice opportunity to have for both campuses, so great work on that. Just a couple things I have. We have our 3 outbuildings that have recently been completed as far as shingling, the roofs. I know a lot of you have noticed that over the years. We've had some shingles missing, we've had some blow off and stuff like that. That outdoor project has been completed. Our boiler project that is almost 4 years old, I suppose, has also been completed at the elementary school. The good news about that is we're looking roughly $80,000 for that project. Part of it will be paid for out of tort, which is liability, the fire alarm hookups, the control boards and all of that. And the other will be out of O&M. The 80,000 sounds quite a bit, but if you bid it today, it would be a little over $400,000 for that project. So we waited a little longer, but when we do our tours, you'll be able to see that. And I won't be over on the weekends, and Reggie won't be over on the weekends, kicking different parts of the old boiler to make sure it works. So, and we did do that. So with that, you want to have the building tour in August, or do you want, last year we had it in September? And at what time would you like to have the tours take place?
September.
And you get September?
September.
Is that all right? Okay, we'll set that up on the agenda for September building tours.
Shannon,
Yes,
can we just make sure that we leave enough time? I felt like we were very rushed last year. I don't feel like we got to really complete the high school tour last year.
sure. What time would you like to start?
I don't know if the group started. Well, is an hour enough? I feel like it's an hour.
Can we have a
Push the,
meeting?
yeah, push the board meeting back then.
We can, yeah, if we want to start the tour at 5:30 and the meeting at 7 o'clock?
I'm good with that if everybody else is.
That's fine.
Start in elementary.
5:30 tour, started elementary. I think last time, we may have even started here and had the meeting over there or something. Oh, we had something going.
That was a couple years ago,
Yeah, that was sorry.
not a couple. It's been more than that.
That seemed like it. 5:30 tour, and then end up over here in the 7 o'clock board meeting,
But that will be for the September.
September. Thank you. When you walked in, you can see that we have the wall torn apart. We're working on the academic foundation wall. When we pulled that structure off, we thought we would see the same kind of brick that we could basically paint. And it's not. It's quite frankly messed up. But what Brent is doing right now is he's taking all that. He's taking the mastic off that was behind there, and then boards will be put up, and that will be painted black, just like we talked about the black wall. And at that point in time, then he'll hook a light up that will shine on that. And Brandy will be working with Quality Awards to take the plaques that we have now and go ahead and put the new ones up, and then it will be an arch of the AlWood Academic Foundation. And hopefully this will be the last time I have to report on it, and it'll be completed by the next meeting if we can, if Randy does her job, it'll be done. So that's why that looks like that out there. Our door work, remember we received money and approval for our door work. We also received a building maintenance grant, which I think you read in the paper last weekend on the neighboring schools that all received that. That was a $50,000 grant with matching funds. What we've accomplished so far is there's been some measurements taken. The availability of a lot of the products, as you know, anybody in construction business, there's a lot of delay in getting stuff. So what it's looking like is when they take delivery, they're looking at either Christmas break doing some of the stuff, spring break doing some stuff, or doing some third shift kinds of things, however it can work out. When that contract was let, it's good for 2 years. So they really don't have to start the project until next year if they don't get the materials. But at least it's up and they're trying to move forward with that. So remember, that's all the doors in the 41 building, including also the exterior doors on the gym and across from the cafeteria area. We were advised to have another camera. I thought we had enough cameras in the building, but for liability reasons, a security camera has been placed in the weight room area in case there's an injury, whatever. It does get used quite a bit, so they recommended that we install that. So that was installed a month ago. That was used. We also used tort funds for that, so we had that money available. That's all I have for an open session, Mr. Barton.
I would entertain a motion to approve Andrea Bulldog as the IMRF authorized agent.
So moved.
Second.
Altoss?
Yes.
Link, yes. Brown? Yes. Poppy? Yes. Barton?
Yes.
Word? Yes.
Yes. Would like a motion to approve the resolution authorizing signers Shannon Newman, Andrea Bulldog, and Brandis Freeman for the AlWood Community Unit District 225 General Checking Account, Revolving Fund Account, Money Market, Investments, and Certificates of Deposit and Activity Interest Fund. Accounts with Farmers State Bank of Western Illinois.
Second.
Altoss?
Yes.
Link, yes. Brown? Yes. Poppy? Yes. Barton?
Yes.
Word? Yes.
Yes. Thank you all. We're going to executive session now. Thanks for being cordial and we all appreciate your comments. I have a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Altoss?
Yep.
Link, yes. Brown? Yes. Poppy? Yes. Barton?
Yes.
Word? Yes.
Just to let the audience members know, I haven't had anybody but one person, but if you have stuff to say in closed session also, you're more than welcome to attend that. It is a private session with just the board and administration. We will take off and head to the library, so you're more than welcome to hang out here if you'd like to until they come back and finish up the remainder of the meeting. Okay? Melissa, I will call you back as soon as we're ready, okay? Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah, that's right.